All right. Ready?
Okay.
YouTube, what's up, y'all?
Give me a Y.
MC
I'm
here.
not doing this. No.
Welcome back to another episode. Thank you for stopping by. Hit the subscribe button, the bell icon if you haven't yet, and drop a like on this if you like talking Marvel and all the fun stuff we're going to be talking about in the future. Because now we're doing podcasts where we talk about anything we want, really. But thank you for checking this out and share this for a friend as well. Let's jump into the topic because we've been waiting long enough. This is part one of what is to be a two-part series where we are going to talk Marvel. And part one's going to be everything that's happened up to, based on the tier list, WandaVision. And I made sure to do that specifically because there's a lot that takes place after that. But we could leave out WandaVision if we want to.
Oh, are we not talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Couldn't find one with it.
We can honorarily put it in there, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, if anything, Joe can do it in
I was about to
post.
say, because that's one of the ones I really want to talk about.
Yep.
All right. I will share my screen.
Oh, hey, we're all tiny. On this one.
Samuel, when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. First up, taking us way, way, way back. OG Iron Man.
Ooh.
Before we even know that we would have a whole entire universe.
Yep, when we were just excited for an Iron Man movie and didn't think too much into it, you know, like before there was this whole cinematic universe. Just back in the day.
Back when we were true virgins to what comic movies could be.
Yep. Because I mean, yeah,
this
like,
was after a recent series of flops too.
yeah, because like, what was before that?
Like,
not sure there was a Superman.
Actually, technically, we could put this one first.
Which one is that?
Hulk.
That's Hulk.
Like the OG one.
Like the OG Hulk with
one,
Edward Norton.
Okay, not the Incredible Hulk.
Correct. That's not with Bruce Banner. No, this is with Edward Norton.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, not the 3-hour snooze fest that took place where we watch him cry in a nuclear town.
Yeah, that one was.
Where his dad tries to like take his powers as a cloud, and he's like, "Take it off!"
That shit.
That one's an instant F for me.
Like, yeah. I think the only saving
the OG one where what was it? It was daddy and mommy issues the whole time.
Yeah. No, this one is the one where they introduced what was it? What's his name? Abomination.
Oh, you're talking about that one. I thought you were talking about the old one.
No, this is the one where they introduced Abomination, who is supposed to be coming back, which is dope. So they're finally making this canon. Like they're actually giving us steps to be like, hey, that actually happened. We can't ignore it. You know, the Hulk got a movie. It just didn't have Mark Ruffalo in it. Your favorite Hulk. So we should, if we're gonna start with it, we should start with this. So I would say,
wait, why would we start? Are we starting based on the time it was produced or the time in the timeline?
Time it was produced.
Well, I mean, if we start either way, this comes first.
Does it?
Yeah, in the timeline, this would come first.
Well, although, wouldn't you think, as far as timeline goes, Captain America would come first?
Oh, true. I didn't think about that. Cap's right.
I think we do production order.
I think production is easiest.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah,
at that point we would put Captain Marvel above like Iron Man.
Yeah,
true. So I mean, if you think about it with these two movies, like the only thing that did this for me, the only thing that did this any justice was recognizing that we didn't know why Robert Downey Jr. showed up at the end, and then we see this and we're like, oh, that's why he showed up. Oh, that's why he showed up. So
my memory is really bad. I need to look this up.
Yeah, in the post-credit scene, he shows up at the end.
Not even that. I just need to look up the movie in general.
You know, I don't think I've watched the post-credit scene on that. Come to think of it, like it's like I haven't rewatched it since.
I believe it was. I believe the post-credit scene was Robert Downey Jr. walked into a bar where Thunderbolt Ross was sitting, and was talking to him about the initiative an initiative, but didn't explain what. So wait, hang on. In that case, this chronologically speaking, this came first, and then this came like because.
Okay, you're gonna have to give me more than this and this.
Yeah, because it's kind of hard to see, to be honest.
Oh,
yeah.
So Iron Man. So that means Iron Man chronologically came before Incredible Hulk, but Hulk came out first in production because Robert Downey Jr. in the post-credit scene showed up and said to Ross, "Let's talk about something. Let's talk about the initiative." So
yeah, because he wasn't part of the Avengers for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
yep.
So that tells me because at the end, if you, I want to say at the end of Hulk, and chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say the end of Hulk. Didn't he show up in like Cambodia? Wasn't he in Cambodia at the end of it? And that's where we find Mark Ruffalo's Hulk.
I honestly can't remember.
I can't either. It's been so long since I've seen that one.
Yeah, like I said, I watched it the one time and that's it because I was just like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I'm never watching that again. Yeah, same, honestly. Just to
Basically.
just to
So based on
rewatch.
tier list, where do we rank this?
Ooh.
Incredible Hulk.
I don't want to give it like an instant F.
I'm gonna go with D.
Sam, do you have the tier list full screen?
I've got it as full screen as it can be. Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
You said give Hulk what now?
I would give it a D.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it an F. So it was still better than the first one.
Oh yeah, the first one would definitely be an F. That one was just trash. And I still had a DVD
I can agree on
in the
D.
other room too.
Yeah, D's fine with me.
Because this one I remember like it was all about him wanting to get rid of the Hulk. Like he wanted to get rid of his powers. And then also they left a massive villain on the table. Apparently the scientist who was working on him, like to get rid of the gamma radiation and get rid of the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of it, Hulk's blood was dripping on him and the radiation was starting to transform him, and he was technically supposed to turn into MODOK.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a major villain. Like
Yeah, so
left
they left. But to my knowledge, apparently that same dude is cast for a future future presence in the show or movies. So phase 5, we may get MODOK, which would be huge. So we'll see.
As long as they don't do MODOK like they did him in the game Avengers.
I mean, he's a massive floating head. How else can you do him?
No, I meant like his character, like his development in the game.
Oh, you mean basically like a whiny little punk?
Yeah, whiny little punk that got injected with like a vaccine and then grew his powers from there somehow,
That's fair.
miraculously.
All right. I think we can all agree.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
Iron Man S tier.
That blew
I mean,
everyone's fucking mind back in the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the first time, it still gives me chills going back and watching it. The first time he suits up.
Yep.
Oh, I
And
always go back and watch it.
Or the tank scene where he's like,
just tiny missile.
like
it's like tink.
It just walks away like a badass. I'm just like, yep.
So in production, what came next?
In production, what came next, I believe, was Captain America, I thought.
Let me do this actually.
You might need a timeline, the production timeline.
Yeah.
Wasn't it
so
two?
somebody want to pull it up?
I can pull it up.
I thought Iron Man 2 was after Captain America.
Iron Man 2 was after Captain America, yes.
Okay.
Marvel production timeline.
Because that was when Iron Man 2 came out before Avengers, because they were trying to show that Tony was working on new suits leading up to. That's why we get the different Mark suits up to what he was working on in Avengers 1.
Oh, well, Wikipedia is saying that Iron Man 2 was before Thor and Captain America.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it came out beforehand.
Yeah.
So
showing
in
Iron Man 2
so
2010.
in chronological production order, what's next?
It would be. We just did Iron Man and Thor. It would be Iron Man 2.
Oh, we haven't done Thor yet.
I said Incredible Hulk, didn't I?
You said Thor.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
It shows Iron Man, the Incredible Hulk, and then Iron Man 2.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's what it's showing on.
It shows Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, and Iron Man 2 in that order?
Yep. Because it says Iron Man came out in 2008. Then Incredible Hulk also came out in 2008. And then Iron Man 2 came out on May 7th, 2010. Thor came out May 6th, 2011.
Oh, yeah. They were very close, actually. So, yeah, it was May 2nd, 2008 for Iron Man, and then June 13th. So, like, just a little over a month later.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, then we were wrong.
Yep.
Sorry, y'all. That shows how little, I should say, the Incredible Hulk had an impact on the MCU.
Yeah, honestly.
It really didn't have any impact at all.
Honestly. So, okay. So next is Iron Man 2 then, correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Iron Man 2 is right. Where is it? Did they leave it off of the list?
Is it next to Avengers?
That looks
Like,
like Ant-Man.
No, I'm talking bottom row. 1, 2, 3,
Right here.
4,
There it is.
6. Yeah.
Oh,
there.
God.
Found it.
Me and Sam are struggling over here.
Yeah.
Yep.
The chat's even worse.
Okay. So Iron Man 2. Good old Mickey Rourke playing, what was it, Whiplash? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yep. And this is the one where they replaced the other guy from the first one that was supposed to be War Machine with Don Cheadle.
Yeah, it was Terrence Howard, I think it was,
Yeah,
who
Terrence
played Rhodey, and replaced him with old Don Cheadle, Captain Planet. Tree.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, so
Oh, yeah. And had the introduction of Black Widow as well in that one.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. That's where we all
Yes.
fell in love with Scarlett Johansson.
Wait, you
Indeed.
just fell in love with her then? Get in line, brother.
Well, sorry, I wasn't as much of a stan at that point. So
Nobody simps for her as hard as Anderson. You need to get that right.
oh, I'm not
that
claiming
is his
Damn
queen.
straight.
not claiming
Damn
to
straight.
love her anymore than Anderson. I'd say it's far less, but still an infatuation.
Iron Man 2 for me was really fun to watch, but it didn't have as hard of an impact as Iron Man 1.
Oh,
It had a lot of great cameos. It had Elon Musk in it, which was dope.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who Elon was at that time. I was just like, okay.
Well, at the time, he was just the PayPal guy, right? Like, I don't think he had.
He had just
he just opened Tesla.
Just started Tesla.
That's right, because
and
that's when like the
failed,
roads.
like shortly after.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm gonna say the part for me that makes this not as good as Iron Man 1 was the final battle where they were like, "Hey, you want to be my partner?
Oh, yeah.
Serve me!" Like, and
Yeah,
the whole-
let's cross streams
like,
real quick.
Yeah, like, have you
Yeah,
not
that
seen
was a-
Ghostbusters?
That was very anticlimactic ending to that battle.
Yeah, it had a few little cringe moments. It I don't think it would necessarily warrant it like a D or anything like that, because I mean it introduced too many characters. Well, I mean it's like War Machine and Black Widow, but so
Tony pissing in the suit was hilarious.
Tony pissing in the suit was hilarious. Yep. I would probably
it did bring up Tony's alcoholism. That's from the comics, so I was happy with that.
I would give it like a solid C or B.
Well,
I would go with I would probably go with C or B myself.
Well,
It'd be a low B. Yeah, I'd say it'd be a low B, but yeah.
I'm fine with B.
All right. So next up is
4.
Thor.
Oh.
Ta-da. Thor.
Yeah, the first Thor it was good, but it was a bit more.
I didn't like it that much.
Yeah, it was a bit more of like a romance movie than it was anything else.
Yeah, it's just
it
was.
It's like, all right, here's Thor. He's awesome. Oh no, lost his powers.
It literally had the plot of Cars.
What?
Like, dude goes to dude is like God in some other dimension or whatever, and then he gets stranded into a random town out in the Midwest, trying to learn humility and some bullshit. He meets his lover there, and then he comes back even better than before. It's literally Cars.
When you started saying God of some other dimension, I'm like, well, since when was Lightning McQueen the god of anything? But then I was like, yeah, I was like, oh, I mean, yeah. Like, are people praying to Lightning McQueen? But,
I mean, the way they made it seem like, yeah.
His enemy wears green. Thor, Loki, Lightning, whatever the dude who says Kachika is.
Jesus.
Dude, that says Kachika.
Pretty sure it's Kachow, but okay.
No, it's Kachika.
Is it?
He goes, Kachika, Kachika.
Oh my god. Oh, that's right. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not Kerchow. Like,
Oh
no,
my God.
what was it? What's Lightning say? Kachow. That's what he says. Because he always gets a reflection off his lightning bolt.
Oh, yeah.
So
something.
Sorry to blow your minds right there for a second.
Yeah, I was like, what kind of weird ass Pixar MCU crossover is going on?
So completely unpopular opinion. I thought Thor 2 was significantly better than the first one.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah. I'm just glad that you have a wrong opinion.
Do what?
Like Thor 2, oh my god, I couldn't stand it. All the fucking slant angles and everything like that. I got dizzy during the whole damn movie.
I loved it. I thought it was a phenomenal movie.
Yeah, I liked it a lot better than the first one, personally.
But with that being said, the first one was amazing. However, to me, the way I'm looking at it is it as good or better than Iron Man 2? Because that's kind of like the middle of the road, what we have right now. And to me, this is just my thought. I think it's on par. But I could justify that.
I would put it at a C, personally.
Yeah, I would keep it as a C.
Okay. All right. Next up is, I believe, the first Avenger.
Yep.
Captain America.
That was an awesome.
And stick him in S or A.
That was an awesome movie. I loved every second of it.
This is a super easy decision for me. Truly, it's A tier all day long.
Yeah, I feel that.
I wouldn't necessarily put it up at S, but like, yeah,
I wouldn't put it with Iron Man.
Solid A. Yeah,
because that introduced us to the Cap, an iconic villain in Red Skull, which I wish Marvel would have used more, but maybe we'll see.
Also introduced us to Peggy.
True. And Howard Stark.
Yeah. Of course, I can't forget Bucky, but although he didn't really do anything there.
Wait, was it 2? I believe Iron Man 2 introduced us to Howard Stark.
I mean, kind of.
Remember, Tony had to find the whole new element.
Yeah,
which was his father's project.
So what I mean by introducing is a character who had a significant role to play in the show or in the movie.
I mean, the new element saved Tony's life, so.
But he was in the movie for all of like 2 minutes.
Okay.
He literally was watching like just a rolling slideshow of his dad talking, and then this post credits moment within. I mean, literally, it was like Inception within the movie of like, here's a post credit scene within the movie that you're gonna see another post credit scene in. Like it just.
I can concede on that because it introduced us to the concept of Howard Stark, but first Captain America introduced us to the character Howard Stark.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yep.
So we all cool on A?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Easy decision there.
Next up,
the Avengers.
Next up would be the Avengers.
This one is.
Bloop. There we go.
Yeah, this one was major in the fact that it brought so many characters together and introduced so many at the same time.
So
does that introduce Hawkeye?
Can we say it introduced Nick Fury?
I'd say it's like Nick Fury came in Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
And then it was much more prominent in Iron Man 2.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
But I mean, you get more of a peek behind the curtain there, like as opposed to them just like showing up and being like, "Hey, join me."
And then
his level,
Phil Coulson had a bigger role in that movie too.
Yeah, his level of presence really.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, no, it didn't introduce. Phil Coulson was in Thor.
Oh yeah,
Well,
true.
he was in Iron Man.
Yep.
He was in Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 1 as well.
Yeah,
But
he
I'm saying
was.
It gave him a bigger role in Avengers because
True,
remember his death was why they united and everything like that.
Yep.
Which death?
Yeah.
What I think so when I think Avengers, I think the first time I saw it in theaters on midnight release, I believe Sam, you and I were together, like to go see that. And I did we take our girlfriends at the time with us? I can't remember.
Let's see. This was 2012. Oh, was that Holly?
It was.
Did we go with Holly?
I know mine went. I know for a fact.
I don't think Holly went.
I'm pretty sure.
Anyway, that's besides the point.
Either
We did go see it together, and
we did.
it was
come out?
incredible. 2012.
Oh God, I was in high school too. Jesus.
Well, we were in college. Like,
We were 2 years graduated already in college. Well, I was a college dropout by that point.
yeah.
I was 11th grade at that point. Yep.
He's a baby.
Yeah.
I just
I remember I snuck into that movie.
Nice.
I didn't even pay, so I just snuck in. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
I just remember being in the theater and everyone on the edge of their seat when you just hear, "That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry."
Yeah.
Boom! And the entire theater was just like, "Woo!" Like,
Oh, that whole movie was just full of badassery.
oh yeah.
I
And
think
then,
that's
of course when
Sorry.
they all get in a circle and it's just like, oh,
Oh yeah, you got the
God.
pan shot. Oh, it was great.
for me, instant S tier.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. All
Like,
right.
I don't think there's
Next
really
up.
anything bad with that. You know.
No,
There was nothing
It was
bad
a
with that
superhero movie, and it had everything you loved and the story.
Yep. All right. What's next?
And what's next is Iron Man 3.
Yep.
They really pumped out the Iron Man. I'm just going to say that right now.
It was a cash cow. Like they saw how well it sold, so why not?
Of course.
I'm curious to hear y'all's thoughts on this before I give mine. I just want to know if I'm aligned with y'all on this one.
Okay, I will say while I like the human aspect they tried to give Tony in this one with like the anxiety and like having to fight everything by himself without the suit sometimes, and then sometimes with parts of the suit, I felt the movie was overall just cheesy. And also I hate how they did the mandolin.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? Mandarin, whatever.
Mandarin.
I hate, Mandarin.
Mandolin.
I hate how they did. Yeah, whatever. There's too many syllables. I just hate how they did them.
This is in no way to reflect on what you said, but it's just, I'm just thinking like, welcome Iron Man. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, fuck. Honestly, that would have been more hilarious.
You cannot match my hands.
My hands have more power than you and your entire suit.
So, a lot of people are going to hate me for this. For me,
Oh, that's harsh.
Dang. I wouldn't put it at an F.
I do not like that movie. Like I feel like I agree with you on the human aspect of it, giving Tony some semblance, but it was too cheesy for me because you like the promo for the movie was leading up to the Mandarin, and I'm like, this is huge because the Mandarin.
We haven't seen him since the Iron Man like animated series.
Well, yeah, but the Mandarin we're going to see a lot more of. The real Mandarin we're going to see in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That's where I thought it was going because I'm like, they're already going this big. This is huge. Oh my god! Like they're about to expand the universe.
Yeah, but they didn't, and they just made him a fake, and I was pissed.
That's exactly for me. It was this character that you are portraying is so significant in the Marvel comic universe that the fact that you made it a joke and now we just have some actor who's like, I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not me. I like watching football.
Sleeping with hookers. Like,
yeah. And then you find out it's actually some scientist who Tony just like
I don't
ditched
even
on a
remember
roof.
his name. That's so how unimportant he was.
Yeah,
like
I'm
all
actually
I know is that he had a photosynthesis like kink, and that's what was his superpower. That's about it.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of struggling to remember Iron Man 3.
Yeah, like it to me, the movie was like it was almost like it had no gumption.
It had no sustenance.
Yeah, it didn't have anything to pull me in. Like they tried to introduce the kid who we could only assume was going to become Iron Lad one day because he literally left, to start tech with his kid. Like, hey, I see you have a great mind like I do. Learn, and then we'll see what you can do. But
we don't even see him until Endgame.
Yeah, even then, you don't see him until the very end of Endgame.
Yeah, when he's already fucking dead.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would
I can concede an F, honestly.
I'll go ahead and concede on it. I personally don't think it was as bad as The Incredible Hulk, but I can concede.
Okay, what's next?
What's next is Thor: The Dark World.
This one's going to be tough for us because Anderson was saying he hates it.
I loved it. The reason I loved it so much was it was the perfect blend for that kind of movie with a really dark presence, like a dark element to it. It introduced us further to Infinity Stones, with the ether being the reality stone, and how what's her name? Frigga? Is that what they called her? Because I know, like, did they actually pronounce her name? His mom, Thor's mom, was it Freya or Frigga? How did they pronounce it? Because I remember hearing.
Pretty sure it was Frigga.
Was it Frigga?
Yeah, I don't think it was Freya.
I honestly,
it might have been. You know what? Why are we doing this? We have Google.
It's true. Either way, like, she dies in that, and then also that same moment gets revisited
Frigga
later on in Endgame, like showing how important that moment was to Thor. Like, I'm looking at this from the grand scope of the MCU at this point, and how important these parts are, and that part played such a significant role in his life, like, in how his character developed from that point moving forward, that it was amazing, especially like seeing Loki being able to come into his powers a bit more, and like, you're learning a bit more about him, and where I feel like he had a much more prominent presence in that movie. To me, like, it's not an S tier, but it's definitely an A or B tier for sure.
Oh God.
Speak on it. What you got?
The way that movie was filmed, with all the slant camera angles, all the fucking, like, I get the dark aspect, I was fine with that, but the lighting and stuff in that movie, it just threw me off. It half the time, the slant camera angles and the movement with those camera angles made me want to throw up. It was disgusting. And then not even that, it introduced us to all that. I would arguably say that Thor Ragnarok had more of a prominent development on Thor's character than Thor Dark World. Dark World.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that.
Dark World just felt like such a put this in here to consume time so we can make the next movies.
I would severely disagree with that.
Yeah, for me, Thor Dark World
feel like
it'd probably be on par with D. I think the only thing I remember from that movie was like the big steel robot thing coming in. I think that's it.
What big steel robot thing?
Wasn't that the first one?
That was the first one.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, then I don't remember anything from that movie.
Because the second one was the Dark Elves. I think the only thing that holds it back from being an S tier movie was the final battle felt kind of rushed. But I loved how they were starting to scratch the surface of the interchanging realms within the actual, universe that they're currently in, because that was the first time we really got a chance to see like when the universal holes were opening up and you were seeing into a completely different realm, and you're like, what's going on? The world is falling apart. Like it was really giving you a level. It also showed you what the other realms looked like. I believe the movie actually started out, or at least at some point in the beginning, started out with Thor and all the other heroes on a different planet. I think it was Hogan's planet, his like actual home planet being attacked, or they were in like some interlocked war, and Thor rolls up with Mjolnir, and it was just like, all right, let's do this, and walks up to this big rock dude who's like apparently their champion. He was just like, boom, all right, who's next?
Yeah.
Now, like it was a really good blend for me.
Linda in chat saying, I think they were trying to figure out what they wanted to do with Thor's character because he started becoming more funny in all the movies after Dark World. It's more like a turning point movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think also, and this is looking at it from the real world aspect of it all, is what's one telltale of comedy or somebody making other people laugh is the depression they're holding in. And if you look at the storyline of Thor all the way through, he's literally losing his family. Like he's losing his family, he's losing his planet, he's losing everything about him that he stood for. And by the end of it, when he becomes, Fat Thor, he's literally, when we see him 5 years later, he's literally just kind of like, this is where I'm at. Like, I feel like this was actually showing a real telling of his character build and how he's losing everything that he fought for so hard throughout his entire life.
Yep. Very true.
Yeah. Sam, what do you think?
It's a struggle for me. I like it more than the first one. So for me, I can't put it anything lower than a C. I wouldn't give it an A tier or an S tier. So like for me, it's in this like B, C area, probably leaning more towards C, but like if there was like a C plus, like that's where I would put it, like, so like, it's a half step better than the first one. It's not until later on into Ragnarok that I would rank it higher personally.
Anderson, where would you put it?
Like based off of my perspective alone, I'd put it in D. I did not like that movie one bit.
Okay. I ask you this because you and I are the more extremes on this. Would you concede a C?
I will concede a C.
Okay. Because I will as well. Because I was saying A, B.
This episode.
I was saying A, B. Well, I mean, we have to. There's three of us. Like but there's very few. We're all gonna be like that one, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
What's next is Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Oh, so good.
That is
This
a really
one
good
I really
one.
love. I really love the dynamic between Cap and Natasha.
Yep.
And of course, we got my boy Falcon coming in.
Yep.
I also loved how they brought Zemo back. No, not Zemo. Zola back.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Zola, like the fact that they actually literally pulled it off the comic book page and put it on screen of his face in the computer. Like you are standing among my brain. What?
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Could you imagine actually walking in a room like that and it's like, my brain exists in everything around you? Like, sorry, what?
I'd be like,
I was just when I saw that scene, I was just like, well, first of all, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Then second of all, my brain kicked in. I was like, wait, how is this even actually possible? Especially back then, this wouldn't have been achievable.
I mean, well, that shows how significantly massive his like intellect was, that he could invent in his time something that could literally compute his brain power. But if you look in, I think it was like one shot where it pans and you see all the rows of servers, like old servers, and you're like,
and not even old, they're like analog. They're before like Y2K.
They are literally analog. Yeah. Like it's all like tape reels and punch cards.
But you see how long that tunnel is and you're like, holy shit, that needed that much. Oh my God.
Oh
like,
yeah, because I said that, I was like, yeah, if he's doing analog like this with tape recorders and punch cards, yeah, it would take about that and possibly even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
And
think
I was just
Exactly.
like, I'm impressed, but also at the same time, this is not feasibly possible in the real world.
yeah.
I was like, this is how I know it's a superhero movie because no.
It also introduced us to Crossbones, the earlier iteration of Crossbones,
Mm-hmm.
which was dope. Um,
I would put it as like A or S, but probably A.
I would put it at A.
I'll agree. I was gonna say S tier only because the Winter Soldier at that time, I think all of us were just like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Like,
I was
who this
impressed with
be?
them, but at the same time, I was just like, yeah, that's Bucky Barnes.
I mean, we all. Well, of course. I mean, of course.
I mean,
you
of
know,
course we knew it. Anyone that read the comics or anything like that was automatically like, I know who that is, but at the same time, they made it so like captivating and revealing. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was not like depressed about it in any way or anything like that.
I still remember the first time I saw it in theaters, and I see Cap launch his shield, and I'm like, "Oh, this is about to wreck him!" And he turns around and catches it, and I'm like, "Oh, that's not supposed to happen. What is this?" Like, all right, what's next?
What's next is Guardians of the Galaxy.
I believe that. Yep, there it is. Because 2 is over there. Yep. So it's this one.
I was about to say 2 is a little bit down the line.
So I have an idea of where I'd put it, and for me personally, it's not S tier. A lot of people would disagree. They say instant classic. I would say A tier. Reason I say A tier is only because it was it, it was an origin story, which was cool. It was an origin story. I felt like it would have been S tier had what's his name?
Talking about
Ronan the Accuser. If Ronan had had a bit more, if we had seen him be
evil,
a lot more of the Accuser, like I and him literally destroying people, I feel like if we had seen that a little bit more, I would have been like S tier. But
yeah, if we saw it in the capacity of like what we saw from Thanos, I would have been more like, oh yeah, this is an actual bad guy.
Yeah.
But no, I just
Like-
see him commanding the ship half the time, so I'm just like, okay, I guess we got a reason to be worried about him.
yeah, even when he like slammed the Power Stone into his hammer, I'm like, all right, give us something with it. Like, stop somewhere and wreck some people. Let's see this happen. Nope.
He didn't even do that; it just came straight to Star-Lord and them. Yeah, I
Yep.
was like, okay.
Well, he went straight to Nova. He went straight to
Oh.
Nova after that because he was going after the Nova Corps to destroy their planet.
Mhm.
And of course, that's where the final battle took place. But like it
Yeah,
to me,
dance
it was
off.
like, yeah, the dance off. The dance off was hilarious. That was hilarious. But it's like, dude, you literally have one of the most powerful weapons in the world, in the entire universe now.
Yeah, and you got defeated in a dance off. Like the fuck, he could have made that more interesting, my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for that wants me to put it more in B, to be honest.
I'm with B, to be honest.
It's like,
Because,
yes,
like,
it was an
just
instant
so
classic.
Underwhelming.
Like I wouldn't call it an instant classic. It was very good. But yeah, like for me it didn't have that feeling to it, you know, of like
It didn't have that sense of urgency, really.
yeah.
Okay. I can concede B. Next.
Next one is Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Hell yeah. So, what are y'all's thoughts on that one?
I loved that one personally.
What did you love about it?
So just seeing
Okay.
you good? I mean, I had always kind of liked how they kind of portrayed Ultron, and then like it just also with like his voice, I think was spot on. Which, you know, like I can't remember the actor's name that voiced him, but Like,
Ultron.
yeah.
Was a dude from Blacklist. Not Blacklist. What's his name? He did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. I mean, so like the expressiveness in his voice acting, and then like just the sheer kind of like destruction that he wrought, you know, like that to me was like an actual bad guy, as opposed to just like we were just talking about with Ronan, where he's just like, oh, okay, it's Ultron, all right, bye. Like he'd actually fuck some shit up, for lack of a better term, you know.
Yeah.
And so like I kind of like the how dark it was.
Anderson, your thoughts?
I personally would put it in A tier because, I mean, I know it's a superhero movie and everything like that, and it's centered in Marvel and all that, but like just the sheer lack of care when it came to experimenting with an actual stone when they came into possession with it, and then of course the creation of Ultron. I was kind of disappointed not to see anything like where Hank Pym was involved.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he did help in the creation of Ultron in the comics, and then I mean, the creation of Vision was cool, but I just once again like the sheer lack of care when it came to having an actual piece of reality in your hands, and you're just like, yeah, we're just gonna put it in Jarvis.
So
we'll just sit there and look at him like you're not gonna test it first or anything. No, we're just gonna put it in this ultimate AI that I have in my pocket. Okay.
So a couple things with that. A couple things. One, on the lack of care, I just want to clarify. Are you talking about when Ultron was building Vision's body, or when Tony and Bruce were working on it?
When Tony and Bruce are working on it.
Okay. So the stone was actually already in Vision's head when they got the body. When they got the cradle, his body was like already pretty much done.
But he wasn't turned on yet, and they didn't do anything to like check.
Well, so quite the contrary. If you remember in the movie, at the beginning of the movie, when they first get the stone, they get back and they're doing their research. They spent 72 full hours because they did the time lapse. It was 72 full hours of no sleep, studying and researching what was inside the staff.
Right.
The only reason they didn't get to the stone was because Ultron even said later on, he goes, you've had this power in your hands for so long, but you didn't know how to find it. And that's when he cracked the spear open, and that's when the stone came out and he put it in Vision's head. I don't think it was a lack of care. I think it was more so they had studied it for 72 hours. And keep in mind, we're talking about in the universe, two of the most brilliant minds. They had studied it to the point where they knew, okay, this is sentient. This is something that we are completely expressing could change the scope of technology forever. This could change the scope of how we do our research and the level of protection we're about to give the planet. They did all of that research within that time to prepare for this. So, because they were already planning on building Ultron and using the spear as, or the scepter rather, I keep calling it spear, the scepter as the pivotal turning point,
the conduit.
So overall, I mean, I think it just, as far as in depth of watching it, and also talking about Vision real quick, they did leave out one scene, and all the actors did come back and talk about this. Apparently there's a deleted scene that didn't even add in that apparently that Marvel was supposed to, was when Vision woke up and he popped out of the box and did that whole like power stance move for a second. Mm-hmm. Apparently he started whooping everybody's ass.
As he should. I mean, he has a reality bending stone in his fucking forehead.
Correct. He started whooping everybody's ass in the room except for Thor, because he recognized, apparently, like it was confirmed that in that battle, like he tears up the lab and everything by just knocking everybody out, and then gets to Thor, and him and Thor, like he recognizes like, oh, Thor's the one who just woke me up, and he stops. And apparently there's like a dialogue, and then that's when it comes back to him being like looking out the window and seeing the world, and then putting his suit on, that kind of thing. Like,
well, they really should have included that in the movie, but anyway, I'll digress from that. But like, I'm just saying, like, even though, yeah, 72 hours from the most brilliant minds, Yeah, you don't look at nanotechnology and just take 72 hours to study it. Like, come on. I mean, yeah, I get it. Marvel's superhero movie, but to me, I just feel like there should have been more care when dealing with something as unknown as that, because I mean, honestly, they had no clue what they were dealing with. They were studying the scepter. They didn't know there was a reality stone inside. And the fact that they didn't know that is like, well, probably should have been some more study there.
Going back to you talking about the nanotech, keep in mind, they were studying that kind of weaponry prior to.
Good.
Because Tony,
and how long did
said,
it take them?
But that's what I'm saying is, so they had been studying this for however long. Tony and Bruce had talked about it, the suit of armor around the world. Like, they had been discussing this and working on this for however long prior to this moment that we were in. So I don't know. Like, to me, it was it was a phenomenal telling. The only thing that stops it from being S tier in the comics, and granted, I know not all the time we're going to see the comics directly from the page and moved over.
Well, of course not. That's movies wouldn't be made if that was the case.
Correct. In the comics, Ultron was technically on the same power level as Thanos because he killed the original Avengers.
Yep.
So that's the only thing, because I feel like they kind of brought his power level back to a fightable enemy.
Which, I mean, I get it. He wasn't the end all be all the MCUs for those phases. But at the same time, it was just like, this is a great evil character that we could have done something real with. But I mean, instead he was relegated to I would say a subpar enemy.
Yeah. Also, to answer Sam's question earlier, his name is James Spader. Yeah. James Spader voiced Ultron. Phenomenal job.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. All the actors in every one of these movies have done a phenomenal job. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
But I would just say, for me personally, just with not including Hank Pym, and I know you disagree, but the lack of research and stuff that I see that went with it, and then of course how Ultron was kind of cheapened, I would keep it at an A.
Yeah,
I was gonna say A. Yeah. All right. Next
is Ant-Man.
Perfect. We're already there.
Huh, neat.
Yep. So Paul Rudd, the ageless man.
Look at us.
Yeah. Almost like Keanu Reeves.
Just look at this. Who would have thought we'd been here? Not me. So
I mean, I enjoyed it. It just wasn't like, it
was a boring movie to me.
It was definitely a feel good comedy.
Yeah. I like, and based off of like overall significance, like it just like it didn't really strike as hard as a lot of the other movies,
The only significance I saw with that movie is that it introduced him for Civil War.
Ooh, it also introduced the quantum realm.
Yeah.
Okay, great, but no one really cared about that when they were watching that movie. They're like, "Oh, the quantum realm, that's neat." Okay.
So, okay, let me ask this: are we looking at this from the perspective of when we first saw it, or are we looking at this from the perspective of now that we see where we are up to Endgame, or at least to WandaVision in comparison on this chart? Like, are we looking? Which perspective are we looking at it? Because that is two very different perspectives of how we could look at it.
I like to look at both, honestly. Like,
I was looking at both, but I was kind of more leaning to my first impressions when I first saw it. But I mean, if we want to factor in, I mean, of course I've been factoring in, but if we want to bring up how it relates to the universe in a whole more, then I would say it was pretty much very important for the next phases throughout.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but first impressions when I went into, I didn't even go into a theater because I was just like, Ant-Man. Okay. I know about the character. Not really one of my all-stars, but I'll watch it. I watched it on DVD from Redbox. And I was just like, it's a movie.
I really enjoyed the movie. The setbacks for me were I was really hoping Hank Pym would have been Ant-Man. Being as Hank Pym was, I mean, they had been sticking to the original character names from that point. And then all of a sudden we have Scott Lang, and I'm like,
Yeah, that was the same. I was just like, wait, what? Scott Lang just came out of prison as a felon and is now Ant-Man? Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, like the introduction of the character was fantastic, but at the same time, I'm like, I really wanted Hank Pym. To be
I
honest
really
with
wanted
you.
Hank Pym, and especially since I know the Wasp is going to be in here, I wanted some domestic abuse dialogue. Look, they already talked about alcoholism and anxiety and depression. Don't even get started.
I mean, yeah, they did fight a lot.
Oh, just wait till we get to Captain Marvel.
Oh no. Oh, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam, what do you think?
I'd say like C or D, probably D personally.
Man, really? That's tough.
I would say C.
Like it was, yeah, and I can concede a C, but
it was average.
Yeah, like I'm just,
I can say C. Because
like if I said B, that's putting it on par with Iron Man 2, and if I say A, that's putting it on par with fucking Captain America. No, it's definitely C.
That's fair. What's next?
Excuse me for a second. Next is Captain America Civil War. My biggest pet peeve about this is that they named it Captain America Civil War.
Well, they kind of had to.
I know they did. They need a third Cap movie, but at the same time, like, God.
Well, I don't even think it was the fact they needed a third Cap movie. I think it was more so the fact that Cap was kind of the centerfold in the comics for that, because it was the Superhero Registration Act is what I believe it was called in the comics.
Yeah, that's what it's called. But it wasn't just Cap. It was Tony and Cap butting heads. That was the thing.
Well, yeah, but Cap was the more prominent role in why the Civil War took place. Because think about it. If Cap had just been like, Tony, you're right.
That would have
roll
been
credits. Like, we'd have a 5-minute movie, and guess what? Suddenly it's all, we're realistically, the rest of the MCU never happens.
And we couldn't go to Black Panther.
So for me, now, you know what, Sam, what
I would also like to add that they introduced Black Panther in this one, which is great.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
I
OG armor Black Panther too.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the movie overall. And I think it kind of set the tone a little bit more like in your face about it, at least.
Oh, it was definitely great.
Yeah. For like the rest of whatever phase that was, 3. So.
I believe that was 3, yeah.
I think it was phase 2.
No, okay. According to the list, that's the very first one on phase 3.
Okay.
Oh, so that started off.
Yeah. Oh, and a quick aside, the order it's in now at the bottom is the order.
Huh, neat.
Oh, no way. That's dope. Okay, cool.
Wait. Oh, yeah, surely enough. But also, what was it? The end fight between Tony, Winter Soldier, and Cap. Fucking awesome.
Amazing. I
also,
can do this all
give
day.
A shout out to my man Tony. He stood up against both of them. He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna whoop both y'all's asses for my mom.
Yeah,
not even my dad, just my mom.
To hell for the dad. I'm doing it for my mom.
I was like, there's some daddy issues to unpack here, but I love it.
God, just that also goes to show like the amazing acting, regardless of if it was a cinematic drama or not, like how good RDJ is, because you could just feel when he was just like, did you know? Did you know?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, my man, he knew. I'm so sorry for you, bro. Oh my God.
It was
like,
rough.
Oh, dude, I felt for him. I'm like, yo, I feel like I'm right there. I'm so sorry.
And then who's the villain in the chamber with them?
Zemo.
Zemo, and he's
that was
like,
Zemo introduced.
Zemo was just like, yeah, that's what he did. Have fun.
Yeah.
He just walked out.
Yeah. Zemo was like, gotcha, bitch.
Also, I did love that Black Panther came up and he was just like, yeah, nah, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, him catching the bullet with his hand. Oh my God.
Yeah, he was just like, nah, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was dope.
For me, I'd say it's just like the other Captain Americas, it's an A tier.
Yeah, I give it A.
I'm gonna have to concede.
Okay, why would you give it S though? I want to know.
Why? Because it is the most truly, to me, number one of the most rewatchable movies amongst the entire series, because you see how pivotal the turning point is amongst the Avengers.
Oh wait, never mind. They introduced Spider-Man in this movie. Yeah, I agree with this.
Yeah, they introduced so we see how Wanda is affecting civilization as well as how civilization is affecting her. We see the romance between Wanda and Vision start. We see the Avengers break up. We see, no matter how minuscule it may have been, an amazing fight scene go down, or a fight, segment go down at the airport in Germany. Zemo, enough said. Black Panther, enough said. That whole chase scene with him on the back of the car, oh my God. And then, I mean, the list goes on and on. The movie from top to bottom is S tier.
You also got to see Falcon and the Winter Soldier get clapped by Spider-Man, which was great.
Yep.
Yeah.
By a teenage boy.
You sold me. I'd put it in S.
Yeah, I'll put it in S.
Shazam, baby. All right.
No,
Doctor Strange.
Are we talking about that one?
No.
Doctor Strange.
I really liked it. Now, it wasn't necessarily because of how it plays into the rest of the MCU. I think Doctor Strange is dope. Like, that's just me. And then, of course, Benedict Cumberbatch.
I'm a cumber bitch.
Yeah.
I'm 100% a cumber bitch. I don't care. Like, the fact that they cast him for that role, I was just like,
that was a perfect casting, honestly.
Oh yeah, I was definitely surprised when they brought him in. I was just like, oh, they're bringing in like serious actors. All right. I mean, of course, we already had all the others, but they brought in this man that made his name solely by himself. I was like, oh, we real serious.
Yeah, they brought in Butterscotch Clatterbang, and it was just all over from there.
Clatterbang.
I'm getting flashbacks to the Forza Challenge series where Anderson's just calling Gary a different name every single time. Poopy scoop doop.
We got poopty loop scoop loop boop. Doctor Strange for me. I'm gonna say B. And the only reason I'm going to say B.
I was just going to say, I was about to say B. Like, it's not significant enough to put it up in A or S. And like, it's not one that you go back and rewatch like a million times or anything like Civil War, but it's dope. It's a nice origin story. Like, overall, it's just really enjoyable movie. And it wasn't, too like if you look at anything below B, it's not overwhelmed, with like, cliche romance bullshit or feel good comedy bullshit or like anything like else like that. Like
Dormammu, I've come here to bargain.
Yeah. Oh god, that part. I loved it, but I was also annoyed. I was just like, can we wrap this up already?
So Anderson, where would you put it?
B.
B it is. All right. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
This is a tough one. I'm torn between S and A.
So I want to ask why.
Because I believe, my personal opinion, that it definitely improved on Guardians of the Galaxy. Of course, they went with the MCU with more humor-based stuff, but it was also a pretty good movie with like everything involved. The intro was fucking dope with like Baby Groot and stuff like that. The only problem I had with this movie was all the fucking romance and daddy issues. I could have went my whole life without knowing about that. Also, the weird sex scenes with the nanobots or whatever they were in the fucking temple of his dad's planet. That was weird.
The nanobots?
I don't know what they were called. They were like showing pictures of him mating with various aliens and females.
So, did you watch the snuff version or?
No, remember he was talking about like right before they get to the big fight, like how he went from planet to planet and like put his seeds on the planet and stuff like that.
Oh,
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume Snoo.
Yeah, I think I'd skip out on that movie. It'd be like, yeah, nope, I don't feel like watching a porno.
I think I downloaded the wrong film, guys.
Mom!
Oh, man.
I fucked up.
I fucked up. I grabbed this one from Dad's stash. My bad.
Downloaded that. Hey guys, I downloaded volume 2. Let's watch it. All right, great.
The fuck?
Yo, why Gamora in that position though? What?
Gamora really loves her sword, doesn't she?
God damn, I didn't know she was that flexible. My God.
Oh, he can change into anything he wants, dick.
Wait, why did Quill change into a horse? It's like I came here for a Marvel movie and I got Rule 30.
So anyway, rankings.
After that, I'm putting it an A. I can't watch it the same anymore.
It's definitely an A for me.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
First off, let me just say, way better than the original 3.
I
Way
feel
better.
insulted with that.
Way better. Well, okay, let me clarify. The first 2 of the originals were fine. The third one, fuck off.
Okay, yes, but Tobey Maguire invented the train scene.
Tobey Maguire, yes. All right, so I guess, sorry, I spoke a little too quickly on that one. I generalized too much.
How dare you speak upon our Lord and Savior Tobey Maguire like that?
How dare you speak upon him that made Spider-Man 2 for PS2 possible?
When you breathe
Honestly,
his name,
though,
you
yeah.
breathe it with respect.
I had totally forgot about that.
Tobey Maguire was the only one to give us a good Spider-Man game until we finally got to Spider-Man for PS4.
Yeah.
We had to skip like 2 generations.
Tobey Maguire did not give us an emo haircut and all black fit for you to talk bad about him like that. Do you understand me?
Okay,
Do you understand me?
No, we can keep that out of the
Yeah,
conversation.
the third one we can leave alone. So
Yeah, we're not touching that.
I love the third one. I thought it was fantastic.
That just makes me judge your entire movie taste right now.
That's perfectly fine. I do not care.
just throw this tier list out the window.
Yeah, at this point.
Screw the whole tier list. We got a whole other topic to talk about right
Yeah.
here.
Could you
Later
imagine?
episode ranking Spider-Man movies.
Oh God.
Okay.
I'd say Homecoming, it really explored the dynamic between I guess I'll just use their comic book names, Peter Parker and Tony Stark. Which is
See, if you want to talk about daddy issues,
yeah. Well,
Honestly.
I mean, can you fault Peter Parker for having daddy issues? His dad died, then he gets his uncle killed. And now he got Tony Stark, and spoiler alert, he dies too. So yeah, he got 3 generations of daddy issues in him. So I can't really fault the man or boy, whatever.
he's
But I
close
mean-
to a man.
But I mean, for having
Jesus.
so many dads die, which is a weird
You would
sentence
think
to
he would
say.
stop having dads.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's just like he's pretty well put together. Like,
He's
you know,
doing pretty
like
good.
yeah, he's doing pretty good. Like, especially
That's
compared to like,
medication if we're talking here.
like, especially compared to
most people
Quill.
would have,
Like,
most people would have an antidepressant cocktail every night with that kind of issues.
honestly,
That's actually what's in his bedside table. That's why there's nothing else in his room. He's just buying pills. Like it's like
That's why he can't come up with his
bottles different
goddamn
days of
rent.
the week.
like the yeah, well, no, like the different drawers are like uppers, downers.
That's why my man
And
can't pay his rent on time.
Hey Tony, you want a nug?
Hey, yo, Tony, I got a gram right here.
Tony will be like,
I'm your friendly neighborhood
Yes.
Spider-Man. $5 a gram, $5 a gram.
Tony be like, nah, I got my upper right here. And downs a bottle of whiskey.
Jesus. Really, for me, this movie comes down to 2 simple words. Michael Keaton.
I was about to say Spider-Man, but all right.
Nah, Michael Keaton played the Vulture top notch. I mean, Michael Keaton, probably one of my all-time favorite actors because that man can play a hero and a villain to absolute perfection.
Yeah, he played the Vulture really
Yeah.
well. He really made him out to be fucking evil.
Yeah, because the Vulture, I mean, honestly, and I'm just saying, like in the comics, the Vulture's kind of a bitch. Like,
yeah,
Most of the
And-
Sinister Six are kind of a bitch.
no,
Yeah.
the Sinister Six.
We're talking Vulture, Electro, Rhino, Doc Ock. Was Mysterio part of Sinister Six?
No.
It
was we're talking I want to say Craven the Hunter was in there, who's a badass, and
I forgot about
I think Green Goblin.
I mean, Green Goblin's kind of badass, but I've seen him beat by Spider-Man so many times, he kind of becomes like just there for me.
That's why I wish they would do Green Goblin like they did in the animated series.
Oh, fuck yeah.
If they did Green Goblin like in the animated series, he's literally a murderous dude. Like,
Green Goblin in the animated series does not give a fuck.
No, he doesn't. Especially when he comes back from the alternate dimension, comes through with his pumpkin bomb, and he's just like, "Here, hold this." Like,
he just says yeet.
Oh my god, he was so amazing.
Yeah, but
if they would put that on the big screen,
I mean, they did do him right in Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire. They did New Goblin dirty, I'll say that much.
Linda hates absolutely hates the original Spider-Man trilogy. Like
5 minute ban.
Yeah. She's like, Sam, you need new friends. What the fuck?
Not my fault you got dog shit taste.
Who, me or her?
Her.
Okay, I was like, you need to clarify on that, Anderson.
No, the original 2 Spider-Mans are amazing. Third one we won't talk about.
I will say, I'll concede, just for a brief moment here, I'll concede in saying the second Spider-Man was way better than the first.
Oh, the second Spider-Man is my favorite by far.
Yeah, because Doc Ock was, but Willem Dafoe as Gobby was just, the first, dude, the original 2 Spider-Man movies are god tier. God tier.
I feel like the third one was better if they didn't include so many villains at the end.
That's a conversation. We really do need to do a Spider-Man day. I think that would be a phenomenal conversation for another day.
Hey,
I believe so.
Mr. Guru Man in the chat. What's going on, dude?
I will say,
hey, Mr. Guru Man.
Hey, Mr. Guru Man. But I will say with the Vulture, like when he was slamming Peter into the sand and everything and like just stomping on him, I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, fucking end that kid's life.
Dude.
It was great.
And also you could feel the tension in the car scene when he goes to drop, like when they recognize who they are, and he turns around and he's just like, I want you to understand that I'm not murdering you because you're taking my daughter to the dance. But any chance I have, I will end you. Like
that literally brought me back to the first time I went to prom, and I was just like, I don't like this.
This man literally 2 feet away from death. Vulture ain't playing, bro. Get out of the car. Like,
and Vulture did not give a shit if he was a kid. He beat the shit out of him.
Mr. Guru Man with so far 100 bits. He's got 250 ones, but right before that, Soren said something interesting. He said, "At Mr. Guru Man, you ready?" And there's another 50.
Huh?
Are we getting bit bombed? Is that a thing? So far 150 bits. Dang, thanks, dude. Like, I'm scared to see what happens from here on out.
Thank you. Are you bit bombing us like you did me that night? Because we appreciate it, but you don't have to do that. Like,
another 50 with gonna need to remove the sound, boys, and then Soren with 100 bits, and then Mr. Guru Man with another 50 bits.
All right, this is what we're doing now. Okay.
Oh man. And another 50 bits. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna mute the event sounds.
Do we wait this out?
The fuck?
Is it still going?
It's still going.
Oh, we're never gonna finish this tier list. No. Jesus Christ.
We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 movies to go.
So, not to mention Captain Marvel. We got to go through that one. I have a lot to say on that movie. No.
It's still going. Soren with another 10. Holy shit, dude. How many so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21? Did I count that right? 3, 4, 7, 12. I did not. 20. Twitch blocked my bits. Sent too many. So 20 individual 50-bit donos. So thank you. First off,
Let's go 1,000 bits.
Yep. Soren with 120 bits so far. Which
Y'all really be wild out here.
But honestly, thank you so much for all the bits. Like, that's insane. Anyway,
okay.
While we're waiting on that to keep going, let's keep going with the thing. We need
okay,
we need
where
a
we put Spider-Man.
A.
I say A.
I can say A. All right. Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Instant S.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think we need to really discuss that. If you
No.
haven't seen the movie, you'll watch it.
Please do. It's amazing.
And
Mr. Guru Man. But yeah, Marvel's kind of cool.
God.
thank you. Seriously, thank you, dude. Like,
The rest of the stream is just gonna have the 50 bits Mr. Guru Man, 50 bits Mr. Guru Man, 50 bits Mr. Guru Man.
good grief. All right, Black Panther.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
I'm glad we can agree there.
R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman.
Yep.
Honestly, like, couldn't have picked a better actor for that, and the fact that, like,
Wakanda forever.
I actually did that with I don't know if you remember Grade A Beef in the chat from when we did the Madden episode. I actually did that with him at my wedding. Like, I was dapping up each individual groomsmen. They were walking down. He walked up, and we were just like it's dope.
Oh, it was fantastic.
All right,
I remember I did it when we were cooking hot dogs.
that's right. That's right. Perfect time to do it too,
Yeah.
It really was.
because a lot of everyone else was just like,
Everybody else did it
Gotcha.
too, and I was just like, I did it for a meme, but all right.
yeah.
We're not gonna mention what we were cooking hot dogs for.
All right, boys.
I think this is lagging out the bit sound. I thought I muted it,
What?
but
Cool,
It was-
we found a stretch point.
it was sounding a little weird to me. Like, I could be wrong, but also Soren said that's a weird bit sound. Now, it is already kind of weird, but anyway,
So they broke our bit sound.
a little bit. Yeah, I think it's kind of sort of back. But, oh, and
amazing.
shit, Soren, I missed the 80 bits. Sorry, dude. But thank you.
That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome, wild motherfuckers.
All right. The
Oh,
heavy hitting.
sorry. I figured out why I didn't actually mute. That's on me. Anyway, continue.
The heavy hitting emotional roller coaster that is Avengers Infinity War.
God, just for the villain development alone, should be S tier.
Yeah.
God, the way they portrayed Thanos, I was just like, this really makes me feel for the man, but also I know he's doing something that's very catastrophic and not good. But at the same time, I kind of get it.
I just want to say the Russo brothers
Knocked it out of the park.
are just like,
Amazing.
especially at the end, like when, and I know we were all sitting there in the moment when the screen went black and we see like the first credit roll and we're all like,
Bro, I was with my friends and what year is this? Infinity War
2018.
Yeah, I was in my second junior year of college. I went to go see it with a bunch of friends of mine. And we sat there and I literally yelled out in the middle of the theater, I just got cucked.
oh man. I don't want to go, Mr. Stark. I don't want to go.
Bye, bitch.
Dusted.
So go ahead
I think we
and
can all
toss that up.
agree.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
fair.
you go ahead.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was okay.
I'm gonna say for me, B tier, because it's 100% better than Ant-Man.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll say B tier.
Yeah, we saw the quantum realm become a thing, much more prominent thing, I should say. We got Miss Van Dyne over there as the Wasp. We got a lot of character development going on in there, so that was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a good watch. But, it was better than Ant-Man. I'll say that much at least.
Mm-hmm. All right, Anderson. Captain Marvel.
Fuck this movie.
I want to hear what you have to say about this movie.
Because I went with friends to go watch this movie. And I sat down and was like, okay, yeah, she's from Korea and stuff like that. I obviously knew this wasn't going to be male Captain Marvel, whatever, because I'm not a complete idiot. I do read up on this stuff. And I was like, okay, they're going with Brie Larson. Okay, that's fine. Okay, they're going to go with the female Captain Marvel after, I forget his name, but the original one died and transferred powers and whatever. Although they did it in a weird way where it was like the spaceship blew up and gave her powers, which I still don't completely don't get how energy can transfer like that, but whatever, superhero movie. But then we get to like she actually comes to Earth and stuff like that. I'm cool with the 90s references. There were a shit ton of them. I got tired of them, but whatever. I get that. It's the time period, blockbuster, all that fun stuff. And then came to propaganda. All the fucking social commentary, the modern age feminism and stuff like that in the movie, it just ruined any kind of vibe I could get from the movie. Like, I was watching it to see Captain Marvel be Captain Marvel. Instead, I'm led on a chase of Captain Marvel discovering who she is, losing faith, then rediscovering who she is, losing faith again, and then boom, she's just automatically got all her powers. Completely unrealistic set of events, even for a superhero movie. And like I said, the propaganda just killed it for me. Because every like 30 seconds or a minute, I'm hit with this thing of women can be great superheroes too and stuff like that. I already get that. I read comic books. There's plenty of feminist superheroes and shit like that. I don't need it put into my face every minute of a fucking movie. Just give me the fucking movie. I got so done with that movie by the end of it. I didn't even stay for the end scene. I just left and I looked it up on YouTube. I was just like, oh, cool. Okay, she comes back, whatever. I was so exhausted after that movie, just from the sheer amount of propaganda bullshit. I get it. You want to put the message out there, but please don't shove it down my throat. If I wanted that to be shoved down my throat, I'd go on fucking Twitter.
Damn. So you loved it S tier, right?
Yeah, no, I hated it D tier. I won't put it at F. Actually, I should put it at F, but that disgrace Iron Man.
Joe, thoughts?
So I think you're thinking of Captain Marvel, not Marvel. In the comics, the gentleman who you're speaking of is Captain Marvel, who is actually a different character in the movie.
Yes, but Captain Marvel gave his powers to Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm. But in the movie, she gets her powers from the Tesseract.
So it wasn't the whole experimental plane that blew up in her face, like the movie said?
No, because remember, she was actually in a dogfight with an alien ship that was trying to take them out because Marvel was on that plane with her, and they were trying to kill Marvel for leaving the Kree. Marvel was hiding out on Earth, experimenting on the Tesseract. They were seeking her out. They found her on Earth. They were in the experimental plane, which is actually
right. Marvel was the old woman.
Correct. Which was actually Marvel. The ship they were in was actually her ship that she got there with, but she had like changed it to look more modernized to what Earth's planes look like. That's why it was taken off. But Carol Danvers got her powers from the Tesseract in the movie.
Okay, so why did she go through the whole ship explosion? Just to erase her memories? Because that whole
that was part to it. That was part to it because when she touched the stone and got like when the explosion of power hit her and she absorbed all of it. I can't remember what Jude Law's character's name was, but he saw that and realized oh, we can use her. Like she just absorbed all that power. We need to see what's going on here. And so he puts her on his ship and takes her to the Kree homeworld where their base was, and then wiped her memories, and hence why she didn't know who she was or her past when she's introduced to us in the beginning of the movie.
Wow, that is significantly dumber than what I thought actually happened. Just a bunch of series of circumstances.
Well, Anderson, if it makes you feel better,
the most powerful fucking person in the MCU. Okay, yeah, okay.
If it makes you feel better, Linda agrees that they overdid the whole propaganda thing.
Thank you.
So you're not alone in that. And that's coming from a lady. So,
well, I'm going to speak on this from the stance of the comics, or at least the movie itself. Propaganda aside, I had no problem with the movie. I just don't think it was as significant as they could have made it.
The part that I was interested in was Nick Fury and that he lost his eye to cat. So I was like, okay. That's
part of what does it down for me is he had been kind of alluding to this big thing happening as to how he lost his eye and then suddenly find out it's a cat. And we're like,
which is hilarious, but at the same time, like, huh?
I mean,
that was a 10-year like wait for nothing.
I mean, the movie introduced us to the Skrull.
Yay.
Yeah. Which is I mean, yay, because that introduces us to Secret Wars. That leads us to so many other things that could happen with the Skrull. That also gave us a much more clear insight on the Kree, which was nice because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did not do a good job with that.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the movie wasn't bad. It just, for me, it was tough because you're following up one of the best movies ever made at this point. You're following up Infinity War. We just watched the Avengers go toe to toe with the Mad Titan of the universe. And now you're introducing one of the most powerful characters who could go toe to toe with him by herself.
Yeah, it did not follow up well. Especially after that, when she could have actually helped and solved the issue at base. And then she comes in later like, I had other planets to deal with. Okay, but he just wiped out half the entire fucking universe. What do you mean other planets?
I mean, but so you got to look at her as the standpoint. She's kind of like a Green Lantern from DC. She is protecting the entire quadrant of planets. Like she has all these different planets that she has to protect and check on to make sure they're good. She's literally a space police, as like a dumbed down version of her job.
But in that space police, and I understand where you're coming from, but wouldn't the space police know about a galactic threat that's threatening to wipe out the entire half of the universe? You think they'd be on the biggest threat like clause.
But that space police is going to know that galactic threat can be battled by the people who are literally planning to do so. Like you take into effect that she knew the Avengers were a thing. So she had to, I'm safely guessing she had to have assumed, okay, Earth is taken care of. We know there's stones there, so they can hold their own. I need to protect these other planets because they have nobody. Like,
okay,
at all.
Once you get, I mean, I guess she wouldn't have known, of course, like that, but like, he's trying to wipe out half the universe. And then he gets the stones. I mean, it wasn't a process of just immediately getting the stones, correct me if I'm wrong. Like there was some time lapses in there. At least in the movies.
Yeah, he didn't get them all at once.
No, I mean, if you're talking about Infinity War in a time timeline presence that took place over 2 days, I believe it was.
Oh,
the course of 2 days.
I mean, at that point, she wouldn't have any notification, but even still, like, you would think immediately after feeling the snap, because correct me if I'm wrong, everybody felt when the snap went off. She could travel at light speed. You'd think she'd be there real quick to find out what the fuck is going on.
She can't travel at the speed of light. She just has a light source around her when she flies, but she can't travel at the speed of light.
That's okay.
There is a difference. There is a significant difference Because if that's the case, we would literally watched her when she was coming into the Earth's atmosphere in Endgame. She would have through the ship. She wouldn't have just, she would have literally beam of light through the ship, boom, and suddenly she's on the ground like,
So
what's up, peeps?
So she has light speed around her, but she cannot travel at light speed.
No, she doesn't have light speed around her. She has a light source around her. It's her power. It's the power emitting from.
She literally draws source from the fucking sun and stars like that. Like,
no, she doesn't. She draws in the movie. She draws source from the power she received from the Tesseract.
I'm hating this movie even more now that we get into it. Okay, so she draws it from the Tesseract, so she doesn't like recharge or do it from radiation or anything like that. It's just there.
No. Yeah, she was hit with the direct power of the space stone,
and
she absorbed all of this power.
Huh?
It immediately just gave her an infinite amount of energy.
Mr. Guru
She
Man
absorbed-
just pushed the glasses up and said, "Nothing that has mass can travel light speed."
Bro, you're right, but comic books, superheroes. Come on now. Give it some leeway.
That's not what Star Trek said.
Oh, fuck Star Trek. But I mean, okay, yeah, I guess I can see that she just got it from the Tesseract in the story, which,
I mean, here's the thing. Let me ask you this, and I promise I'm going to reference to this. And Sam, you answer this as well. What are your thoughts on the Incredible Hulk?
like him with his powers and everything.
Him as a character, as a whole. What do you think of him as? What do you think of the Incredible Hulk?
I am fine with the Incredible Hulk because, I mean, of course, comic book science and everything like that, the gamma radiation made it so that his rage is his source of power, and that the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets.
Sam?
I mean, I agree with that, and I see where you're going with it too.
Okay, so I'm pause for a moment. What do we know that the stones emit? What power do they emit?
Power.
Reality power. I don't know. Like, is it radiation?
Confirmed in Endgame, they emit gamma radiation, which means Captain Marvel in the movies got her powers the exact same way the Incredible Hulk did.
Okay, but her powers are just there. They don't grow on anything like rage or happiness or whatever.
But that's all contextual. That doesn't matter. That's not a defining factor as to what makes her a hero or him a hero. It's how did they get their powers? They got their powers the exact same way in two separate incidents. His was a lab explosion with gamma radiation. Hers was a radiation explosion directly from an Infinity Stone. But it's the exact same concept of how they got their powers.
Yeah, but it's not the exact same concept of how they used their power.
Correct. The powers were absorbed in different facets. His was absorbed to where it's a completely mass reconstruction of his cellular structure to turn him into a giant green rage monster. Hers was absorbed to retain within her cellular structure for her to be able to emit this power out of her, almost as if it's like a almost like a supernova. So it's like, granted, it's two different powers. We're talking here, we have two very distinct, similar incidents with gamma radiation. So her powers, like wrapping that back, like her powers are just like, or were received rather, and held within just like Bruce Banner. The only difference is how their powers manifest.
Mr. Guru Man said her powers are triggered by feminism.
I mean, he's right pretty much. Because there was no other emotions from that character in the whole movie. That's another problem I had with it. I respect all the respect to Brie Larson, but there was no emotion in that character whatsoever.
Oh, I agree with that. I'm just more so saying in the sense of, if you argue that her powers were kind of underwhelming or to a degree not really.
Well, I don't think I was saying her powers were underwhelming or like not really there. I was more saying, why didn't she use them? But now that I know she can't go light speed and everything like that, that makes sense, because she couldn't have traveled all those distances in space to get there in time, or anything. She wouldn't have any way of knowing. So yeah, I can understand that now. But like I'm saying, like, just, I mean, the movie, we're talking about it now, but the movie didn't convey any of that at all.
I mean, it did, just not as direct. Like it did. it wasn't spoken upon, if that's what we're saying. They didn't go into detail saying this is how you got your powers. They showed it in cinematic events of what took place for her to get those powers. I thoroughly enjoyed how she got her powers. I thought it was dope. I completely agree with you that she has about as much emotion in the movie as a wall with paint drying, but Brie Larson as an actress, I have nothing wrong with her. I just think she could have done a much better job in implementing some semblance of attitude and just like boss ass bitch. Like, I mean,
like
she literally
bitch or bratty or whatever. Because obviously they went with the feminist vibe. They could have done a boss ass bitch. Like, I know how to do this. I don't need you to explain it to me. In the story, I'm gonna blow this shit up. I would have been fine with that. That's great. Great female character, great character in general. But no, they didn't do that at all. She was just
and ladies, I would like to confirm that we don't mean bitch in a very vulgar term.
Oh no, obviously not. But I'm just saying, like, in the movie, like, if you have a character like Captain Marvel, and they're that powerful, and they're going through all these events and like explaining their powers and coming into terms with their powers and finally feeling their powers, I would expect some emotion. Not just sitting there with the same smirk or smile that I've seen for the past like hour and a half.
I mean, I think we can all agree she had RBF the entire movie.
Yeah,
It was just like the entire movie.
And I was just like, girl, if I had that kind of power, I would not be RBF and I'd just be smirking and be like, come on, bitch, let's go.
Sam, what are your thoughts on this? We've been going back and forth. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the movie. It was a little much at the feminism thing. I can't rate it any higher than C personally. Like, it was all right.
I'll concede to a C because I was gonna say B.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever give it a B. And I know Anderson would never give it a B.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it on par. Honestly, this is tough. I wish we had a C minus. Because like I
would
respect
to a C minus, but it's rough for me to do a C.
Do we?
I respect Thor and Thor: The Dark World more than I do Captain Marvel.
So here's we could also complete the angle and put it in D, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like going bottom to top. Like if you look at the thing, like just real quick, put Marvel in D. Like I'm not saying this has to be the official rating, but
oh, you mean like a perfect Steve?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's your OCD talking.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I recommended D anyway.
And ironic, look who's sitting right next to each other. The two people who got their powers the exact same way.
Yeah, except one is cooler and thrives off of rage. So
the point was brought full circle. There we go.
And Mr. Guru Man was going off in the chat. He was like, the group, Ant-Man sucks. Captain Marvel, 20 minutes later. He said, someone give me a damn microphone.
Half of that 20 minutes was just me ranting about Captain Marvel being Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
I mean, and understandably so. Like, keep in mind in chat,
for smooth brain satisfaction.
I mean, happily apply to my monkey brain. Return to monkey.
No, I think he was thinking about the step thing.
That too. I do want to say, like, I'm coming at this from a standpoint of the overall context to the movies. Like, I've watched these movies so much. I'm a massive comic book nerd when it comes to both comics and the cinematic universe, regardless if it's TV or movies. So it's like I'm dissecting these things, like they're like just seeing the levels of how Marvel went into building these characters, and it's just that's why I really enjoy like breaking it down like that. So
yeah,
which is fair. I don't detract anything from you for that. It's just I also come at it with I take them because it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I take the movie and how they portrayed the character in relation to the comic books.
That's fair. I think we can all agree on the next one as well. Endgame rather.
Oh, S. Is there something higher than S?
That should be in like Z tier or like infinite tier. Ooh, there we go. Infinite tier.
See what you
He's
did
onto
there.
something.
See what you did
All right.
there.
Spider-Man: Far From Home.
There's another one where he was in England.
He was
Yeah.
all over Europe, yeah.
And then
Okay.
with like fucking Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah, with Mysterio.
Who did a phenomenal job as Mysterio, by the way.
Yeah, he did a good
Oh,
job.
he did, yeah.
I liked that movie quite a bit. I mean, I don't think it's definitely not an S tier for me, but like I'd still like a solid like B or A for me.
I could go either B or A.
I could go A.
Just do A.
Yeah, let's do A since he don't want to concede anymore.
You both said B or A. At that point, I could choose either one. What am I conceding on? I conceded to A.
I don't know.
All right.
I just like Homecoming more than Far From Home. Personal opinion.
I mean, well, that's fair. WandaVision.
I'll let y'all two discuss that.
We have to be very discreet, Sam.
So did you finish WandaVision at all?
No,
Me?
I didn't give a shit about it
Okay. No, I understand. I know you finished it, but
because I watched I watched 2 episodes of it and it bored me to death, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not. Of course, it was also my mistake because I watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier first,
yeah.
and then I went back to WandaVision. I was like, I can't finish this.
Yeah, that's where you played yourself.
Yeah, so WandaVision started off a little rough for me. It was, I get where they were going with it, but it was still a little rough to start off with. Like, you know, I've had some people at work that I've talked to about it. I'm like, look, just give it like the first like 3 episodes and then it starts getting good, which is kind of a hard sell for a lot of TV shows, you know?
Yeah, I don't have 3 hours to just sit there and be like, okay.
Yeah, that brought non-Marvel viewers to Marvel S tier. All right, Mr. Guru Man is going in there.
He's just all controversial. He's just all controversial in the comments. All right.
Yep. You
woke up, chose violence,
and we'll probably have to discuss this a little bit more in part 2. But I remember watching it. I had more questions than answers by the end of it,
which makes it a phenomenal start to phase 4. I don't want answers that early.
Yeah.
I do not want any answers that early in phase 4. I need questions because I think back to phase 1, 2, and 3. And in phase 1, 2, and 3, they all started with questions. They were like, they had you going like, oh my God, what's happening next? Oh my God. Like literally, think of phase 3, Civil War. At the end of Civil War, you're like, the Avengers just broke up. The Avengers literally just broke up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Cap just broke them out of prison. The Cap's no longer, Cap's not Cap. Cap's a con. What are we doing? Like, I need questions.
Yeah.
I don't need answers.
Which I get that. And Mr. Guru Man kind of echoed that point. He said in any miniseries, the show has to give you a lot of questions in order to answer those questions for a finale or season end. Or, you know, continuation of a cinematic universe in this case. But so like, so I'm not necessarily saying that, you know, me having questions was a bad thing. Just like, I remember at the time, you know, thinking, you know, we'd gone through Endgame and kind of, you know, buttoned up a lot of things. And so like, yeah, I understand we need to ask these questions. But I'd say for like a casual Marvel viewer, you know, somebody that's not as much of a nerd about the comic books, for example, that can be off-putting to some
lessen
people.
up on the questions because we just gone through a period of Infinity War and then like a year-long break and then Endgame.
Yeah. So like I enjoyed the show. I wouldn't put it like F or D. I think that what kind of killed it for me was the rough start. Of just, you know, like it kind of took a little bit to get everything going and it felt a little kind of too cheesy at the beginning. But if you were to look at it in like in the scheme of it of like a movie, it makes sense. But that's where I feel like, and it's hard because like I want to say WandaVision might have done better as a movie, but I don't think so at the same time. You know, like it's like I'm kind of having this like internal debate with myself of like, how would I prefer to receive that information or get those questions asked?
I feel like if it was a movie, I would have watched it, but it definitely wouldn't have been like one I go to the theater for. I would definitely get it on DVD or something.
Knowing what you know now, or just like if you had originally just heard the premise and seen the trailer, would you have gone
No,
to see it?
if I originally heard the premise and saw the trailer, I would have still probably just went to DVD. Especially seeing how WandaVision's how many episodes now? 6?
It was
Or is it
only
more?
6.
Okay, yeah, 6. So that's 6
Or
hours
was it
of
8?
content.
Might have been sick.
It's either
Well, I
6 or
mean,
8.
Either between 6 or 8. That's 6 to 8 hours of content they put into the TV series. And if they bumped it down to a movie, it'd probably be like 2 hours minimum to fit all that information in there.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess the TV show made more sense.
Yeah, because if you did a movie for it, that'd be a lot of information trying to squeeze into like 2 hours or 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Good. So I feel like they did the right cause with going with the TV show, but even still, either way, I don't know if I'd watch it, or if I did, I wouldn't go to a theater for it.
Sam, where would you rank this?
I'd say probably a C or B.
Uh-oh.
You good?
He was probably going to put it in S or A.
Sorry, I didn't hear anything you said because my internet started to slow down. What?
Oh, I said B, like B or C.
I did hear what Anderson said. And here's why I would say S.
Yep, there we go.
Now, I'm going to, before I say that, I'm going to preface by saying I'm totally open to concede, but hear me out.
Remember, you have to be careful with what you're saying.
Yeah, no, 100%. This gives nothing away. The entire time that we have witnessed Wanda, she has always been reactive to how her powers are being responded to and how she's responding to her powers. When she's introduced, she has not mastered her powers at all. When she is part of the Avengers, especially like in Lagos, Nigeria, she still doesn't fully understand the concept or the scope of her powers. When we are introduced to her in this, I don't think it was more so in the sense of a slow start, but more so offering more questions as to why all of a sudden is she in the 70s? Like, what happened? And I look at it from the full scope of the show instead of just, oh, this is how I felt in episode 1, this is how I felt in episode 2. I look at it as I watched this entire series front to back every week, every day it came out. Friday, it was like lunchtime hit, I'm watching the show. And because I was that engaged in like, I need to know what's going on. Like, why, like, why, what, how, like, what's going on here? Understanding a few concepts here. Number one, by the end of the show, we understand that her powers, they retconned her powers because her powers were already there. Her powers had been ever present the entire time, showing she had truly been the Scarlet Witch. It was just that her powers were laying dormant, and the Mind Stone opened them for her. Then we also have Vision, where we see that the U.S. military, well, not the U.S. military, but SWORD, really, you can count it as the U.S. military, basically. SWORD has now constructed their own Vision as the world weapon that they've been wanting him to be this entire time. We look further and we see that Agatha, who is such a prominent character in the comics, Agatha opened up the Darkhold, which opens up a world of danger and just imminent threat to the MCU. And now at the end of that, Scarlet Witch has it. Also, just saying, side view here, Kat Dennings is a goddess. Darcy.
Oh, no doubt. Kate Dennings in every role she plays is a goddess.
But you look at for the front to back scope of the show, and you understand further that Wanda, because if you think about this, it's a 5-year difference, right? We're looking at the 5-year scope between what happened in Infinity War and what happened in Endgame. When she came back in Endgame, Vision had literally just had his skull, or a piece of his skull, ripped out 5 minutes prior, not 5 years. She has not had time to even remotely like understand the feelings she's going through. She literally just watched the man, regardless if he's a cyborg or not, she just watched the man that she loved murdered 2 feet in front of her 5 minutes prior to her coming back in Endgame. Then we go to WandaVision, and that takes place just a few months later. She's at this point, she's just lost. The battle's done. Half the Avengers are dead. You know, like, what do you do? Where do you go from there? And then you see that same just scope of reality for her crumbling. And you start to understand how strong she really is. Like, that for me, in the the full scope of her character and how it fed into WandaVision, is why it is S tier for me. So
still call it B. I get where you're coming from. Like, and you made a lot. Yeah, you made a lot of really good points, but
it was just so boring getting into the actual meat.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, and everybody, you know, receives shows differently. But
correct.
You know, it's just, yeah, I like, I can maybe concede an A.
I'd say A.
I wouldn't.
I mean, here's the hard part, because this is why we can't like go into Loki. Is I would say watch the show fully. Understandably, it may be difficult being as where you've already started, but watch the show and then look at that from the scope of her character going back.
I really don't want to watch that fucking show. It's so fucking boring.
Then don't. I mean, it's up to you. But where are we going to put it? This is technically our last one. We do have one more after this.
Would you be willing to do B? Because Anderson's not going to do A.
Well, Anderson hasn't said where he would put it.
B. I'll concede to B. I would have put it at C, but I'll give it a B.
I'll concede to a B. All right, last one is, unfortunately, Twitch, you won't see this, but YouTube will. Is Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
S.
It was really good.
It was.
Yeah. Really like how they tackle some difficult issues.
Yeah, I'd be fine with an S.
This one's tough for me because as a person who deep dives this kind of stuff, I know what the original story was supposed to be, and part of me wishes they had stuck to it.
Gotcha. See, I don't.
Yeah.
I know inklings of it, but from what I've read and what I've seen discussed and everything like that, even though they didn't go with the original storyline, which I think would have still been fine, would have still been probably on par with what they put out, I still think what they put out was a lot better for the MCU universe, even though it wasn't in line with the comic universe.
I mean, I'll say S for sure. I don't think them switching the storyline up really burdens it that badly for me, because the show overall was fantastic. And then seeing Anthony Mackie in the comic book, completely comic book accurate Falcon.
They got that dead on, dude.
Oh yeah. And the fucking relation between him and Sebastian Stan was fucking amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's our completed tier list.
Yep. Side note on Falcon and Winter Soldier, really like how they tackle the racial issue.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they did a great job with that.
Not many people or anything dive into that kind of issue, especially in superhero comics or superhero TVs or whatever. But they tackled it and they handled it really well, and especially when you're tackling it with someone who came out of 1904 World War II era.
Yeah,
for sure. No, I completely agree. So S across the board for sure on that, and that'd be our tier list. Of course, part 2 is coming up once Anderson watches all of Loki. We'll be tackling where we think the rest of the MCU is going.
Yep. Apparently, I'm gonna have to suffer through WandaVision as well.
Linda was saying Anderson just watched the last episode. I think maybe the last 2.
I can concede to that.
Just to get an idea of what's going on. Maybe 3.
I completely forgot about the running dick joke. Boner.
Huh?
You not remember Boner?
Boner in WandaVision?
Yeah.
No.
You don't remember Boner?
No, I honestly but my memory's terrible, so.
I was about to say how forgettable it is.
It really wasn't. That's why you got to watch the whole show, because there's so many plot twists in it.
No, thank you. I'll take Linda's idea into suggestion. And after those 2, then I might go back and watch the other ones.
Well, all I gotta say is there was one particular episode in that show that you won't be watching that sent the entire Marvel fan base into a tizzy, going, oh dear God, they really are bringing in the multiverse this early because of Boner. But you have to understand the whole concept behind it. But yeah, watch the last 2 episodes. You'll get enough gist to.
I mean, if you want to overlord over me some more, that'd be. I do read the comics and stuff like that, and watch the stuff. So
this has nothing to do with the comics.
What does it have to do with?
I can't. It's. I can't.
If they don't have anything to do with the comics, then what do they have to do with? Because the comics is the basis.
But what I'm saying is I can't say anything, because if I do, I'm going to slip up and say something that's going to ruin a lot for you.
I'm going to have to watch the whole thing, and I'm going to hate it even more. Okay. Well, I will watch WandaVision and Loki during the week.
Cool. So that means
just end the show.
Don't be grumpy with me. It's your decision.
Grumpy with you.
Well, if you have to direct it at anybody, direct it at WandaVision. But Twitch, stick around for next week's episode. YouTube, you as well. We are going to be going into part 2 of Marvel. Where are they going? Which is going to be a lot of fun. So if you need to, take this next week and go watch all the Marvel shows and Black Widow if you get a chance, because we'll be covering that. And then next week, come with your pen and paper and all of your personal ideas of what you think is going to happen. But any closing statements, boys?
No, should be fun.
I just want to leave.
All right. Well, it's about that time. And as always, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.